Hey, I'm glad that you're back again today. We had our first child and family team meeting yesterday. Went pretty well, don't you think?
Yes.
I was real
It
impressed.
was excellent.
Great. Well, it was excellent because you were all there. But today's meeting is really to look at crises and things, bad stuff that could happen.
Yes.
What do you think? Oh, and by the way, I should explain this for the both of you, is that Aura and I were talking about this a little bit, and she really felt that it would be better for Brandon not to be here because this is a little bit sensitive. But our plan would be to talk about potential crises, develop a plan so that they happen, hopefully not at all, but certainly less frequently, and then take the plan back to Brandon and go over it with him, get his input, and make sure we have his buy-in. And so that's why he's not here today.
Makes sense.
Okay.
What do you think the stuff, the bad stuff is that could happen? And what's the crisis that might happen?
Okay, I can ask him to do something and he does not want to do it, then he'll start escalating, and when he escalates he throws things, destroys property, and has run away. And we want to prevent this, especially injury, damage to property.
Sure.
Isn't good.
It must be a pretty sort of scary and unpleasant time for both of you when that happens.
It is.
Well, this is really the first step of our three-step model for crisis planning, and the first step is predicting what the crisis might be, and we've just predicted something that could happen and probably will happen again. Really, the next thing we want to do is really detail this out just a little bit more. I mean, exactly what happens, how does it happen? I mean, how does it start?
Sometimes I can tell him to do things like, do chores, for instance, and he does not want to do chores. He does not like chores, and it will start with throwing and banging, and then on to going outside and throwing at the cactus, and especially the swirls.
So you might ask him to do a chore, and then he says no, and then what do you say? Do it now.
Yes.
Or else.
And then it just goes.
It kind of
goes on.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, when he runs, is he running anywhere where he could get himself into more trouble? Because we want to really be careful of that.
Yeah, he can get himself in trouble, especially out in the desert throwing rocks at the swirls and damaging them.
Is it safe to say, though, Aura, like all parents, that sometimes we handle these things better than other times?
Yes.
In other words, kind of it takes two to tango, right?
Yes.
And sort of how do you play into this when you're not handling it well, when you're not at your best?
Well, sometimes if I'm not at my best, I'll instead of disengaging or stepping back and don't say anything, I'll say something more, and then it gets a little bit more and a little bit more, because I want him to do it now, and I'm not backing down on the situation, and it just escalates
I see.
more.
So, Aura, would you say that it's best for you not to get too tired? Not to be too tired or stressed out?
Then that's when a lot of it will, because I'm too tired and stressed out.
I see. Well, I'm a parent too, and that happens for me too. When I'm tired, I sometimes don't do as good a job as I might with my boy. Get in his face a little bit, maybe a little too impatient, and so I really can understand that. Really, the next thing then is to really identify what are the conditions that prevent the crisis from occurring, and I think that was really where you were going, Jerry. You said, I bet you that you do better when you're well rested. Is she right?
She's correct. She's right.
What about, let's move to the next step of this planning process. How do we prevent these things from happening? Now, it doesn't mean there's a guarantee it'll never happen again, but how do we minimize the potential for this kind of crisis, this kind of escalation? It sounds like we've already got a tip-off on this, and that is that if you have some extra rest and maybe some respite, you'll have more good energy and do a better job kind of managing this. Is that right?
That's correct. When we have respite, that I do a lot better.
Do you think that Kiana could provide some respite for Brandon?
Yes, I think she can. We usually do the weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Are there other things that we might be able to put into this plan that would prevent these situations from occurring?
Or if I remember right, Brandon really likes sports. Is that right?
That's correct.
Now,
That's
which one of the sports does he like?
He likes baseball.
Baseball.
Okay. And Kevin usually has come out to watch him play baseball, and he really is. Kevin's a friend. He's a friend of the family, and he's taking care of this.
Let me check your thinking on that, Norman, and whether you agree with this. Or is the thinking that if we get Brandon involved in baseball, for example, and he has a structured way to sort of discharge some energy, that we'll have less likelihood of these kinds of sort of blowouts?
Yes.
Is that right?
That's right.
We need to keep him busy.
Okay.
Keep his mind on other things.
And you're thinking that maybe Kevin, who is a special person for Brandon and has an interest in sports apparently,
Yes.
that he might be a good person for us to talk to about getting him signed up for baseball.
Yes. Okay.
Good.
That's great.
Okay.
Now, any other ideas then about ways to prevent these blowouts from happening?
I like Jennifer. Jennifer has been involved in our lives. She comes out anytime, 24 hours. We can call her, and Brandon will talk with her on the phone. And
Right,
yes.
and Jennifer is the therapist that has been working with Brandon, and so what we're thinking is that continuing that, giving him an opportunity to have somebody to talk to, that helps.
Oh,
That
yes.
helps prevent stuff, kind of getting, discharging some of that stuff.
Because isn't Jennifer available 24/7
Yes,
for
she
crises?
is. Yes, she is. She will come in and help him to de-escalate.
Well, then we're really moving into the third piece of this, which is planning. Let's develop a plan for what to do if the crisis occurs. I mean, I think, are crafting a good plan, but it's not a guarantee that there won't be a crisis. In other words, there may be times, despite our best planning and prevention planning, that things the train gets run away. So what are we going to do if it happens, if the crisis occurs?
Well, there's Jennifer again. I mean, she can become involved in Brandon's life, and we can call her, like 24 hours. She's available 24 hours. He can talk with her, or she can come out to the house.
Okay.
And
So when things are really heating up and the crisis is occurring, she can talk to him by phone. Sometimes that'll de-escalate things. And if necessary, she'll come out.
She can come out to the home.
Sounds like a good plan to me. Do you think that there needs to be any other elements to that part of the plan, or do you think that kind of covers it?
I think that kind of covers it. I don't see anything else that we can do.
Well, one of the things I'll need to do is run this by the court and make sure that they're okay with this. And I don't really think there'll be a problem, but I do need to do that.
Okay. Well, Norman, why don't this may help you and others too, is let me write this up. I've taken some notes about this. Let me write this up so you have something in writing to take to the court. And then I'll also bring it to you, and you and I can go sit down with Brandon, review it with him, see if it makes sense to him, see if he has some ideas to kind of add to this so that it's more his plan.
Okay.
And we'll take it from there.
Okay.
That's a great idea.
Sounds good.
Thanks a lot.
All right.